Welcome to the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. On today's episode, you will hear from Tiffany. I'm not sure if you prefer going by Tiff, Tiffany. I got some Tiffers.
Oh, I'm Tiffer, Tiffy, Tiff.
Look,
It's all
I got you, Tiff. Throughout this podcast, you may hear different names, but
Okay.
you know they're all you.
Okay.
But yes, thank you for joining me on this journey. Typically, when I'm doing these recordings, I do not go back and look at any notes. So I even remember in the chat, you had put some things in there. The only thing that I recall, I believe so, is that you were diagnosed like as a baby.
Mhm.
Diabetes is all you know.
That's all I know.
That's the only thing I remember.
It's the most important part, right?
Right. And that's why I was like, I gotta get this conversation going with you because I mean, we often hear people talking about things such as life without diabetes or how their life was before diabetes. But your life before diabetes was what it still is.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
so I got diagnosed in 1984. I was 1. But I have no memory of being not diabetic. You know, like I was a healthy baby for a very long time. Then about 2 weeks after my first birthday, bam.
You got an extra birthday gift.
I did. I'm like, oh, I got the cold and I got diagnosed.
Look,
How did that work?
You didn't ask for it.
I mean, we don't ask for a lot of things, but here we are.
And we handle them.
That
But
part.
one thing I do have to let you know about Tiff is that 1983, that was a great year.
Was it?
It was.
Okay.
Because without 1983, not only would you not be here, but I wouldn't be here either.
See, we're here.
1983. Yep, I've been nice since 83.
Okay.
Yep, I tell everyone that I think this is the first time I've recorded with someone born the same year as me.
Okay.
And look at us, young, black, full of life. Like we still making things happen.
We beating the odds.
We are. We have to.
Okay.
If we don't, then the odds will beat us.
At that part too. You were on it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you don't have much memory of your diagnosis. Well, you don't have any. But I'm sure there are some people who are close to you, who have been close to you over the years, that hopefully they've been able to share with you.
Yes. So I don't have full memory of being diagnosed, but I do remember bits and pieces of my hospital stay. It would sound so crazy, but like back then, well, you don't know because I don't think you had diabetes then. The cribs looked like jails. And they had like this plastic around it. And there was no pediatric endocrinology wing. It was all the children who had whatever. We shared rooms. It wasn't like I was special. So I do remember my mom did say that I had gotten a cold and they gave me penicillin. And probably after the cold was remedied, she's like, you started vomiting. You kept going to the bathroom. We took you to the hospital. They're like, oh, we don't know what's wrong. Send her back home. Go back again. They still don't know. So finally, they took me to Georgetown University, where we met the chief of the pediatric endocrinology unit. And that's when I got my diagnosis after going back and forth for weeks with no real answers.
At Georgetown University, you're from the DMV area?
I'm from the DMV.
Look, you were in the DMV at Georgetown University in 1984, right with Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing was there in 84.
Okay.
Yeah, look, great things, right? Yeah, so when I think back on 1984, I'm trying to think of like even just young people, like toddlers back then, how things have changed so much for toddlers. But to be given a diagnosis of diabetes at a year old, you probably was about 20 pounds or so.
Or less.
Or
Because
less, because
my mom said I lost so much weight.
right,
Yeah,
right.
so very frail. Nobody knew it was wrong. It came out of nowhere.
Mhm. Have you ever had that conversation with your mother?
What do you mean?
Like about your diagnosis, like how she spotted the symptoms, or
Yes, we have. And it's crazy because my symptoms became her symptoms because she lost so much weight from stress. I don't know if you're a parent, but I'm a parent. So when my son has something going on, he's sick, but I'm the one dealing with it because I want to know what's going on with my baby. So I can, because I have my son now, I know how my mom probably felt then, like not knowing, like, is my child going to die? Like she runs around, she does this, she does that, and now she's just frail and sick, and she's thirsty, and she keeps, having to use the bathroom. Yeah, we've had that conversation, but it hits different after becoming a mom.
right. And I'm sure then that was a truly traumatic experience for your mom,
Mm-hmm.
because just to hear that diagnosis, you're like, her baby was diagnosed with diabetes. My first thought, if I can go back in time, Back to the Future, part of our era also.
Right. Right. 85.
Marty McFly.
Okay, 85.
Yeah. And I think of during that time, like I would have probably been like, ain't no way my child has diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Like my child is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
My child doesn't eat too much junk food and things like that, because that's the first thought of anyone not living with this.
Would you eat too much sugar? Like, you can't be this dumb.
Say it how it is. You can't be this dumb. Look, we remain unapologetically us during this journey on this podcast.
Like, what? So you're telling me it's been 40, almost 42 years that at one, my mom was pumping me with sugar, and I have sugar diabetes. I just don't have diabetes. I have sugar diabetes. Please don't talk to me. Like at that point, I have to remove myself because it's going to go in the wrong direction.
Look, they probably were giving all that to your mom also, telling her, well, why did you do this? Why? I saw her.
What did you do? What did you do?
I saw her with that juice or that lollipop.
That's what did it.
No.
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, definitely.
That was it.
Too much of, you probably didn't even meet your first Halloween. Like
Halloween, what's that?
Right, with the plastic costumes. You remember those things? I remember I had a Casper the Friendly Ghost one.
Oh no. No.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Right.
Those
So
80s babies.
80s. So I was just looking at some nostalgia video of candies and things from the 80s and the 90s. And I sent it to someone. I said, that just makes me smile.
Mm-hmm.
Like thinking of Alexander the Grape candies.
See, at that point, I wasn't really, I wasn't eating any of that. It was little sugar-free candy.
Look, right. You couldn't even do it. That's messed up. That's messed up how much
what was that?
Right. It was like at a young age, they told you no sugar. Told mom, no sugar.
So I'm going to tell you what, and I will always have a great respect for the doctor who diagnosed me, because as I got older, he would be like, she can have a little bit. It's not going to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was something that I wanted to taste, like we'll say a Snickers bar, no, you can't have the whole thing. But remember they had the little minis that were so tiny?
The bite size.
That bite size. That was my treat. So yes, I'm diabetic. I was always on a strict diet. So much so, like my family adapted the diet to not make me feel like the weirdo. So for me, like I didn't have this abnormal childhood where I felt like, oh, I got diabetes. For a long time, people didn't even know. Like when I went to school, I would have to, when I started kindergarten, my mom had me wear a watch to set a timer, because at that point, I had to have a snack in the morning. And I remember going and hiding under the desk to hurry up and eat it because the kids would be like, well, how come Tiffany gets to bring snacks to school? We can't do that. So, at 5 and 6, they're not really, they don't know. But as time got on, like people, they didn't know because I was never sickly. I just had diabetes. I don't even think I went to the nurse. I probably went to the nurse one time in all of elementary school. And I was, 10? That's 9 years with no really, no sugar drops, no spikes. I was good.
Do you know what your A1Cs were during that time? Are you able to look at any of your old
I can't
charts?
go back. I can't. Look, we're talking of in an era where you had the blot to test your blood. It wasn't you put it in the meter, you prick your finger and you put the blood there. We literally had to prick the finger, blot it, wait, then put it. You were testing ketones. There were no strips. You had to pee in this little vial and spin it around and do some crazy stuff. So, no, I can't go back that far.
Right. 1984. That was just on the cusp of changing from beef and pork insulin to NPH, which is a mix, and regular NPH. Yep.
Not anymore, but sliding scale and all.
Look, there's people today who are diagnosed or on NPH and sliding scales because their medical team does not take the time to get up to date on modern day technologies and advancements in healthcare.
Crazy.
Right. And a great portion of them look like me and you.
Yeah. It's too much work.
Mm-hmm. Now,
you gotta do your own research.
We have to. We're all doctors of some form.
Oh.
So, Dr. Google.
Yep. Yep.
Now, do you recall when you first realized you were a bit different than other kids because you had diabetes?
The only time I really, really felt different is, it's going to sound crazy, is when, remember I told you I was in the unit with all sick children. Mm-hmm. And there was a young lady who shared the room with me, but she was kind of across the room and she had no hair. And at the time I didn't realize, she has cancer. I have my hair and I'm getting shots and she's hooked up to all of this stuff. So that kind of put it in the forefront. But as I said, my family made adjustments. One of my best friends in elementary school, her sister had diabetes. So I never felt I didn't feel it because I played sports. I was in activities. It wasn't I'm I got diabetes. I can't do anything. No, I've been able to do everything I've ever wanted to do. I just have diabetes. That's it.
Yeah, I recorded with someone back in March or April, and she was diagnosed in 1984, but she was 14 at the time.
Okay.
When she was diagnosed.
Okay.
And they prevented her from continuing to play sports. She was a track athlete. They told her that she couldn't run anymore.
Nope. I played track. I ran track. I played basketball. I played softball. I've gotten to do everything that I wanted to. It hasn't set limitations on my life because I did not allow it. My mom didn't allow it. My family didn't allow it. They never, if they knew my blood was low, of course, somebody's going to run and get me some orange juice or a mint or something to try to bring it up. But it wasn't you got sugar. You can't do that. No.
You didn't have to
work like that.
The sugar police weren't raining on your parade.
No, oh my gosh. You got that soda? That ain't good for you. Well, how else am I supposed to get my blood sugar up? There's no orange juice here. And that's, remember, we didn't always have glucose tabs.
Orange juice was the thing. I was telling someone that
I hate orange juice now.
Absolutely. I'm not going to say hate, but dislike with a passion. I coach middle school track. So you asked me if I have any children. So I have 3 children. My son is about to be 16 on November 23rd. He's in 10th grade. My daughter will be 14 on November 10th. She's in 8th grade. And my youngest birthday is in February 6th. He'll be 11.
Okay.
But my daughter runs middle school track and I coach her team.
Okay.
I train athletes in track and field. That's my thing. But back in the springtime, we were headed to a track meet and my blood sugar was running a little low and I only had a few things on me. So I was like, we're going to pull over and go to this Dollar Tree. And I'm in a Dollar Tree. I'm like, looking like, okay, what's the thing that's going to bring my sugar up the fastest? I ended up buying like a bunch of snacks and stuff, but I didn't really want them. So across from the Dollar Tree, there was a Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm at the drive-thru. She's like, can I get a turkey sausage, English muffin, something? And I said, let me get an orange juice. That was my first time having an orange I didn't even drink it. It stayed in my bag for weeks.
I believe it.
Because I don't know if it's something, it recollects with that diagnosis and those early years. And it's like, I'm not drinking this at all.
Look, I won't even eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches anymore.
I feel the same way.
One thing that was in my lunch for forever in like the juicy juice box, the ones that used to be in a little green thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I will not touch a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I remember the jelly I think it was called Polander All Fruit because it was sugar-free. Don't want it. Keep it away. It's nasty. But like you said, it's like, it's in my brain. Like
it's instilled.
It's instilled that at one point in life, this is what you were limited to when you were at school. No, thank you.
Right. I have a close friend who passed when I was in high school. And he used to say, I'm not eating the peanut butter and jelly. That's Choke Charlie.
Playing witch.
Yeah, he said, I'm not eating no Choke Charlie sandwich. And that's exactly how I feel. You're crazy.
I won't eat.
I won't either. Like, I might eat the bread, maybe. But,
just eat the crust. Where's
peanut butter and jelly on? Y'all crazy.
Yep. No, thank you.
And I see it a lot, throughout like different social media groups of parents who have children with type 1 diabetes or diabetes in general, and they give them peanut butter often because that protein stabilizes your glucose. They're like, oh, just give them a peanut butter sandwich. And I'm always like,
no.
When they get older,
get them some glucose tabs because we didn't have that back then.
Right. I mean, get them a pack of candy. Something.
Snickers. A whole Snickers.
Exactly.
They'll be paying for it later, but.
Look, some Starburst, whatever.
Or Reese cups. I like those. I just don't want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Right. You don't want any jelly in your Reese cup, right?
I don't want no jelly and I don't want no the three combined. No.
Right. So coming up, like who did your family consist of?
So it was my mom, my dad, my grandparents. I'm an only child. You can imagine why. My aunt, my uncle, and then I had cousins, great aunts. But in my single household, it was my mom and my dad.
So you got all the attention.
You know.
even when you got to middle school and high school, and we all get a little bit sneaky. You got all the attention.
All of the attention until I was 21 when my little cousin was born.
Okay.
So only everything, only niece, only grandchild.
Wow.
Yeah, for a very long time. On one side. Now, on my dad's side, I'm number 3.
Okay.
But on my mom's side, yep. And then I gave my family their first boy since my uncle. So you know what that meant for him.
Wow. So you have a very small family.
Yeah, I have a small family. Very small.
Yeah. I'm not used to that. Like, Black people, like,
not this Black family.
It's usually huge. Like my parents are 65 and 67. They have like 19 great grandchildren.
Oh, no. One great grandchild on my mom's side, and that's my son. But my granddad was one of 10.
Okay.
And my grandmother was one of 5, but they didn't have babies in back to back for 10 years.
Now, do you know today if there's anyone in your family history that had any chronic health conditions or autoimmune conditions such as type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, celiac, irritable bowel disease?
So, as far as I know, I was the only one. Later in life, like when they got 80-ish, that's when the issues started happening. But it wasn't any no autoimmune disease. It would be cancer. So I was lucky number one. And then the go-to for everybody.
You were their science project.
I mean, oh my gosh, oh, can you come down here and fix this? So we're from the country in Maryland. So one road literally had all my grandmother's siblings. So it was just oh, okay, let me go down here. She need me? Oh, okay, she needs me too. No problem. I'll be down. I'll take care of it. I'll prick your finger. I'll give you some juice, whatever you need. Just while I'm on this side, just call.
Now, you said you were from the country in Maryland. You're not in the country anymore?
We're not in the country. When I mean country, I mean it's called Spencerville, where there was no street lights on the road. Now I'm in another part of Maryland that's not country as Spencerville, where everybody knows everybody, and you can just go and walk people's door and open the door. No. Well, not where I live now.
So it shouldn't be like that anywhere now.
It shouldn't be, but you got to think, back then it was all family. So if somebody didn't belong, you knew they didn't belong the moment they turned on the road.
Right. Yeah, my dad, he's from a town in Virginia called Cheapside. It's outside of Cape Charles, and no one's ever heard of it. He's like, yeah, it was probably about, he's like, it was about 500 people. And I'm like, yo,
it's less than that.
I said, y'all probably were all cousins. And he said, probably.
Yep.
Outhouse, all of those things. My mom talks about when she was pregnant with my sister in 1980, that she had to go to the bathroom and fell in the outhouse.
My mom had well water.
Yep. Humble beginnings, right?
About that.
Humble beginnings. Now, how was diabetes for you as a middle schooler and high schooler?
So they did not prepare me for puberty and diabetes or, menstrual cycle and diabetes. So it was not pleasant at all. I mean, it was all over the place, but it wasn't uncontrolled. It just,
Yeah, back then, people didn't speak much of the variables. It was more so just food and exercise. There weren't the variables such as adrenaline, such as hormonal changes and imbalances from your body developing into a young lady. All of those growth hormones, those things weren't spoken about back then.
Not at all.
Science really didn't know how they attributed to someone living with diabetes.
Right.
But you made it.
Yes, I made it.
Some days it was barely.
Yeah, it was bad. I feel like they didn't prepare me then, just like they didn't prepare me to be diabetic and pregnant. That was a whole nother experience. And I'm like, yeah, so my child is my only child because they did not prepare me for diabetic and being pregnant.
Speak on it. Diabetic and being pregnant. The hypos, all of that.
Oh, so the hypos, the hypers, he's basically bleeding you dry, the preeclampsia out of the blue, the kidney failure out of nowhere, the edema, and I'm probably misspeaking of the term, but I think it's polyhydramnios, where you have excessive amniotic fluid. They thought my son was going to the bathroom, basically inside of my body. Oh, because you're type 1 diabetic. The high risk doctor literally had a bet on me to say, oh, he told me this later. We thought you were going to deliver at 30 weeks. I didn't. I made it to 34 weeks. And my son was premature, but they didn't let me know. I mean, they're just like, oh, everything's fine. And then one day I get a call from my doctor. She's like, you need to go to the hospital now. I said, can I wait till tomorrow? I am exhausted. Please, had protein in my urine. They're like, they're waiting for you. I'm like, waiting for me for what? They literally had me in the hospital. I gained 20 pounds in 3 days because they tried to push my body to the max. I wasn't prepared for all that, and I'm never going to go through it again. I mean, I know what to expect. I mean, I guess all of this stuff could potentially happen anyway, but the kidney failure and the 20 pounds and no.
Your body was going through too much stress and shock. I know that for a great majority of women during pregnancy, today they shoot for average blood glucose under 6.1 A1C. So back then, I'm not sure if they shot for a certain number.
I think it was 6.5.
6.5.
I think it was 6.5.
Then they didn't know that you couldn't just drastically go from one to the other. Like it should be a more slow, measurable process.
Mm-hmm.
Because that quick change can throw shock to your kidney, your eyes, everything.
Man, after having him, I had mild diabetic retinopathy. And again, I've never been like, you see, I got tattoos. I don't have problems healing. I've never had any real issues until after I had him.
Yeah. So you had mild diabetic retinopathy. A lot of people get that from that quick change in blood sugar.
Mm.
Like whether it was you were on average of, let's say, a 7 to 8 A1C, and then you went down to a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you go from an 8 to a 7, like
it's still drastic.
Right. Unless you actually go through the measurable steps. Like a lot of people, you'll see that like my blood sugar is, my average A1C is a 10 or 11, and I'm trying to get it down to 6.
Yeah, you can eventually.
You can eventually, but you're not going to do it overnight.
Right.
Because that shock to your body will be another traumatic experience. A lot of people go into DKA for doing such things.
Mm-hmm.
Now you said you were spilling protein into your urine. Signs of kidney failure during your pregnancy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I've heard of that during a pregnancy.
They drained, like, after they got him out, they took 22 jars off of me because my kidneys are like, oh, he's out. So all that 20 pounds that I gained in the 3 days I was in the hospital, that's Sunday, Saturday when I came home, I'm peeing to no end because my kidneys are like, oh, we're happy now. He's out. Like we can, we can get this stuff pumping. So.
And since then, how have your kidneys been?
I have kidney stones, but I don't know if that's possibly from diabetes or just because I'm a sister and Black people get everything. I'm on blood pressure medication to protect my kidneys, but I don't have any kidney function issues.
That's great. That's great. It sounds like you're taking all the steps so that you can continue being at your best. You're not going with the age-old rhetoric that it's going to happen anyway.
No, it's not.
Some people do. Some people do that. They expect to go through all of the complications that are related to whatever chronic health condition they have. But that doesn't happen to all. It doesn't happen to the majority of people.
Really?
And we know as people of color, like we got that extra strength in us. So if that complication does come about, like you were going through complications during your pregnancy, they came about, and you reigned over, like you handled that.
I did. I did. I got through it.
Mhm. And look, today, how old is your son today?
He's 13.
13.
13.
Is he in 8th grade?
He is.
Just like my daughter.
Yep.
And I'm gonna keep him far away from her.
Well, look, maybe not now, because we already cool, so we might be able to work something out down the line.
And my daughter has dreams of going to Howard U.
Oh, okay.
Look, I'm telling, since she was maybe like 7 or 8.
Okay. My son is like, I have to go to an HBCU. I said,
yep.
Good for you, sweet pig.
Yep. We're raising them the right way.
Trying to, man. It's hard out.
I know.
Especially, sons. Like daughters too, but the boys, unless you have a son, I mean, I like talking to people, but it's just different.
Yeah, and the boys are less expressive when it comes to emotions. So when they're going through things, it's kind of, you got to have that relationship from day one, because when they go through things, you probably can see it on them, but
but he won't explore. Not my son, because we have a saying, I can't protect you unless you tell me the truth. Like, I need to know what's going on with you. He knows. You want to talk to me, you can talk to me about anything. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm here. So I'm glad that I've established that with him, because I think that's going to contribute to, real men cry. So if you
real men share and show their emotions. Like, seriously, we do.
That's where we're at. That's what I'm trying to do here. Like, yeah, you're big and strong, but it's okay. And you can hug your mama. That's also okay.
Right. And you having lived with diabetes for 40 years. Wow, you have a big celebration this year.
What's the big celebration?
40 years of this second chance of life.
Well, it's already been 40 years. It's about to be 41.
Yeah, you had that.
About to be 41.
Oh, so when you were diagnosed early in the new year?
I was diagnosed 2 weeks after my first birthday.
I don't know when your birthday is.
March. It's in March. I'm sorry. It's early in the year. March.
Okay. I was diagnosed in March. So you were yeah.
2 weeks after my birthday.
Yeah. So you're going into year 41 of living with diabetes.
Year 41.
Year 41 of life now.
Yep.
I'm 2 months older than you, just let you know.
Okay.
But
what? Well, how many years do I have when you put a diabetes?
Look, you got me. You got me on that.
I got a lot of people.
You got me on that.
I'm the geriatric person of the group.
Look, nah, there's some people, there's a few people in there that have been diagnosed. Like I said, one person, Jerry, same year as you, 1984. There's a few people that were diagnosed in the 1970s. I have one lady, she doesn't speak much, but she's been diagnosed for over 60 years.
I love it. I mean, I don't love to hear it, but I love to hear like it's been 60 years and you're still thriving.
And she's only like 61.
See?
Yep, from the Philadelphia region.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I've recorded with her.
Okay.
This past summer. It hasn't been released yet, but
okay.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, please do, because I'm like, I always feel like I've been one of the youngest people, that I've ever met. So to see somebody else, even people that work, like, oh, I got diagnosed at 12. Okay, I mean, I get it, but I'm like, how did you navigate? Because you were diagnosed around the same time I was.
Right. So there is another young lady who's been I've recorded, but hers was released. Khadija. She's from the UK though. Okay. She was diagnosed, I believe, at 6 months.
Wow. Oh. Wow. Was it recently diagnosed? Like, how old is she?
She's in her 30s now.
Okay.
So like 30 some years ago. I think she's like 32. So literally like 31 years ago.
I was just asking because I was wondering, like, is she on a pump? How did that work? Because I know when I was when I got on my pump when I was 21, there was a baby in the same like unit that they put on an insulin pump. And I was like, they can do that? Because it wasn't this CGM stuff. It literally was just the same, just a regular Medtronic pump, no CGM. I was worried.
Right. I did want to tap into some things. I want to know, after 41, almost 41 years living with diabetes, what are some things that you consider that are like misunderstood about yourself or just people in general living with diabetes?
So I think, like we touched base earlier, everybody that has diabetes, or more than probably all people who have diabetes, didn't get diabetes because they were overweight, especially type 1. Let me be a little bit more specific. They didn't eat too much candy. It's nothing that they did to themselves. It hasn't been self-inflicted. And I think that, it's important for people to do their research, because sometimes your immune system attacks itself, and it's something that just happens. And, diabetes is a livable disease. You want to control it. You don't want it to control you. I think that when people get diagnosed later in life, it's probably a little bit more difficult for them. I get it. Like, that's all I know. So it's hard for me to relate. But I also know that if I don't take care of myself, it's a possibility that I can have kidney failure, heart attack, stroke, amputations. Take care of yourself.
Right. Take care of yourself. Like Tiffany says, because she's the senior in this group.
I need to get a shirt. Take care of yourself.
Tiffany says, take care of yourself.
Yep.
Because, again, 40 plus years, and you've been able to live without all of the complications that many get within 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm. I've only had DKA one time. That's when I first got on my pump.
It was a new transition.
It was like, I thought it was like this now that we have with the CGM, and I don't have to do anything. I was 21, wow, living my best life. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I going to the bathroom so much? And now I'm vomiting. Should probably go to the hospital. I went and my sugar was 1,200. And they were like, I can't even believe that you're here talking to us. Like I am talking to you now, clear as day.
Your sugar was 1,200 at 21 years. After 20 years.
After 20 years.
You didn't feel it?
I didn't feel it until I started puking. And I was like, something really must be wrong, because I don't know anything about it.
Right.
Never had it.
So that's literally the miseducation. They did not tell you that when you transitioned to that pump. And we see this often on a regular basis, where things that are intricate into our well-being, our health success, are skipped or missed. And a lot of the medical professionals say to themselves, like, oh, I thought they knew this. No, it's all a new book to us.
And it was a transition for me. So I went to Georgetown until I turned 21. So I had the same doctor from 1 to 21. It wasn't until I was going through that transitional period where I had to go and find somebody else, because he only did peds. So him even seeing me after 18 was a huge gift. But that's the only time I've ever had it. With my son, but that was something totally different. It wasn't me, it was him.
Right. Out of body experience.
Yeah. Trust me. No, we don't want to have that. No.
Right. So, again, do you have any fears today of living with diabetes? And did you have any, as a young mother, having a child, having to do everything for that child? Because we know diabetes, people who don't have children will say, well, you can't handle this or do that without taking care and managing your diabetes. But there's something that's far more important to us than our diabetes. And that's our child, our children.
So I did have some fears, because Probably, goodness, I know one time, I can't remember the age. I was sick and the doctor prescribed codeine and my sugar dropped and I was unresponsive. I think I was probably in high school. So when I became a mom, that was always a fear for me because, the CGM it's nice, right? But it's not perfect. And I've had experiences where my sugar has been 60 and the pump is saying it's 400. So it's constantly pumping me with insulin and I'm asleep. I know nothing about it. So that was one of my fears. But now that we have this new CGM that's a little bit more accurate and reliable, I don't really have any stresses other than my son potentially finding me unresponsive. Only happened once, but it can happen.
So your son has found you unresponsive?
Yeah, he hasn't. He has not, but that's my fear that he will.
Okay. That's a true fear.
It's fear. Mom has found me unresponsive, but not my son.
Does your son, being the growing young man that he is, does he know the steps to take to make sure that mom is able to come back? Mom is able to come back to being her natural self.
Her outer space mama. Yes, he does, and I'm happy because of I don't know if you have it, but Basquini, which is the one you squirt up your nose.
Nasal spray.
The nasal spray. I grew up on glucagon. So for him not to have to try to squeeze it and get it down, he knows what to do. He even sometimes will be like, Mommy, your pump is going off, because I'll be knocked out. And I'm like, oh, it's just telling me the reservoir is low. Thank you. But he knows.
Right. So that's what do you use currently? Are you on Medtronic still?
Yes.
Okay.
It's better since I got the new transmitter. It's been great.
Okay.
But it was not making me happy a while ago, because I'm like,
That's the majority of people with Medtronic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more so the CGM.
Mm-hmm. It got blood in it. Is what happened. It got blood, and then it took him a month to get me a replacement because because of where I work, I can't order my supplies straight through Medtronic. I have to get them through Edge Park.
Okay.
And Edge Park is not. I hope Edge Park will watch. Y'all are not number one.
Mm-hmm. So Edge Park is basically a supply chain.
Mm-hmm. It's another distributor that is not.
And
no.
you've only used Medtronic?
I've only ever used Medtronic.
Are you complacent to Medtronic?
No, I'm gonna tell you. So I had tons of Medtronic supplies, and I was like, "Oh, can I send these back?" And they're like, "Of course, no, you can't." So when it's time so that was part of the reason why I stuck with Medtronic, because I had endless supplies. And I'm like, well, hell, if I can save money and not have to, buy more supplies, I'll just stick with it. So that's what I did. I was very pleased with the 780 when I first got it. Let me not say that I'm displeased. I just have heard better reviews on the T Slim or the Tandem and what is it? The G7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when it's time for upgrade, which will be in 2 years, I know typically you have some type of platform where if somebody needs supplies, I can send the supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So Medtronic will be going bye-bye.
Right. So what I would shoot for is contacting Tandem to see if you can do a trial of their pump first.
Okay.
So you can, so you can compare that.
Okay.
To what you use, because it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Some people truly love that new Medtronic. What is it? The 780.
780.
Yeah, people truly love that pump.
Yeah, it's better than what I had when I was pregnant with my son. Oh man, I didn't even wear the CGM.
Right.
Like it's off all the time.
Yeah, I hear that like that algorithm though with that pump in the CGM is like the best. What's the lowest you can set your target at with that?
I think 70. Yeah, I think I keep my target between 70 and 120.
Okay. Yeah, like some pumps won't go below like 110 or 112 for your target.
Really? I mean, I think it's better because it doesn't necessarily sometimes, like I had a low sugar the other day and it gave me no alert until it was already low. But I'm like, I already know because I'm sweating. When were you going to tell me I needed to eat? Because if I wait on you, like I'm going to be passed out somewhere.
Are you in a relationship with your pump, CGL? You said,
like,
if I gotta wait on you.
What were you going to tell me? Like,
look, and that's why I wanted to transition into diabetes and relationships. But we're going to start off with this relationship with you and Medtronic. How Medi been acting up lately? He all right now? Because I know for so many years.
It's the Medi gone. Tronic is on now.
Okay, Tron.
I'm rid of him.
Tron, a guy, right? That's your guy, Tron. He got this.
He had to be upgraded. So now we're good. It's perfect.
Medi was for your youthful years when you was a kid.
Yeah, get out of here. I'm done with you.
Now you got a grown man. That's Megatron.
Right.
Yes. How has diabetes been for you and with relationships, whether it's significant others, friendships, family? Has it affected them?
I mean, it's hard because I don't want to speak on their behalf, but nobody's ever been like super stressed out about my blood sugar, unless I'm in a hospital or something, which is rare. All of my friends, and I mean close, you got friends and then you got acquaintances, but all of my girlfriends, my male friends, they know if, they used to make accommodations. Hey, Tiff, we want to go out to eat at 8. And I'm like, listen, I can't eat at 8 o'clock. I got to eat at 5. So they just make the shift to not make me feel like the burden of the group.
Right.
Which I thought was so dope.
Look, you got good people over there.
I do. They're so amazing. Like, you got something to eat. I got a muffin in my bag for you. And I'm like, why? I don't need something.
I'm used to hearing people say, you ain't hungry? You ain't eating yet?
Like, no, I don't have to on this pump.
I'm like,
Thank
chill.
I'm good.
I got this. Right.
Right.
And we do say that a lot with diabetes, even times when we're struggling.
Right. You got it.
We always say we got this. Mm-hmm. When we should all have that friend like you have, those friends that also got this.
My back.
Right.
They all got my back. Like, I'm gonna go get you something to drink. What you want to eat? You want me to go to the car? Mm-hmm. It's great. And I never have felt unsafe with them.
Right.
I don't have a care in the world with them.
That sense of support, that pure empathy and compassion, they go a long way.
They do.
They help us.
It does. Mm-hmm. They will tell me, girl, you tripping. Is your blood low? You acting crazy.
And sometimes you gotta look like.
But I'm like, oh man, you're right. Let me go.
They got me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Look.
All right.
When you don't repeat it something like 20 times, they're like,
are you listening? What was you gonna tell me?
Right. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to any episodes. The one with Ronnie. Ronnie created the sub chat with the women.
Oh, okay.
And she was talking about how she was going low at work. Have you heard that? When she's talking about how she was sweating.
Oh, I think I did see.
Mm-hmm. You gotta go back. Her whole episode is just a lot
because it was like going off, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't focus.
Her episode is so funny, like it's so humorous.
Okay.
Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah, I know that, like you said, diabetes. I mean, no one has told you that it has affected any relationships or anything, and that's great because that shows as though people are seeing you as you before diabetes. and they're also accepting you with your diabetes, because if they don't, then be
And
gone, right?
I think sometimes people forget because it's always you don't look like you got sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody please tell me what that looks like?
What, I look like the Kool-Aid man?
I mean, not just that. Like I don't have no fingers, no toes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blind. Like, what does it look? Please clarify.
Exactly.
Because I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
And that may also make it seem to other people as though like the condition that we have isn't truly what it is. Like there are stressors that go through our body all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
The variables of diabetes, whether it's the weather, the time we wake up,
the wind blows the wrong way.
Exactly. There's so many different variables that unless you're living with it or you're managing someone with it, that you won't truly understand. And that goes with the medical team as well. They won't truly understand unless they're living with it. Ain't no one ever going to tell me, well, maybe you should keep a log of how many carbs you ate during this time. And
Who does that?
Are you?
Listen. The carb counting. My mom had cancer a few years ago, and we had to meet with a nutritionist. And she's like, "Oh, well, when you're doing this because you have diabetes, if she eats bread, it's like 15 grams of carbohydrates per slice." I said, "Ma'am, I've been carb counting my entire life. I'm not sitting here having this conversation with you. And let me just tell you, for awareness purposes, if I wake up tomorrow and eat the same exact thing that I did the day before, it might be a different result because my sugar and my body and the atmosphere might say today is not the day. So leave, bye, please. Come on, let's go. We're not talking to her anymore."
Right. We have diabetes. Diabetes doesn't have us.
It's the truth.
And I'm not glad that you have diabetes, but you were able to use your knowledge and experience with it to actually advocate for your mother. Because we have to advocate for ourselves non-stop 24/7 with everything, with the medical teams, with their prescriptions, with the pharmaceutical companies. Look, even with family members and friends, like you said, like someone may forget that you have diabetes, and most people don't know the things that truly affect us living with it all day, every day. So like the cost of insulin. Some people say it's under $35.
For who though? Is it for you? Because it's not under 35 for me.
Right. Not for me.
Like Medicare and covering insulin for those individuals on Medicare is 125% important.
Right.
But there are people who have diabetes that aren't on Medicare who have to pay for not just one vial, they have to pay for multiple vials because we're on an insulin pump. So it's not like, oh, we're just getting 30 units a day. It varies every single day. And it's not 2 insulins anymore. I'm on one medicine. So I think the price is ridiculous. I think that the lack of knowledge, if you're going into the hospital for something unrelated to type 1 diabetes, is also a hot mess. Yes. It's a mess.
And you made me think about something when you just mentioned there's no telling basically day by day how much insulin you're going to need. And during the onset of the pandemic, the global pandemic, the greatest pandemic in world history, basically, like people were needing more insulin while they were fighting COVID. No one came out and was like, we understand, even though statistics were showing these things, that when you're sick, we've known this for years, we become insulin resistant.
Yep.
We need more insulin, got to dump on more to fight this sickness.
Yep. Yep.
But even during this pandemic, that wasn't brought to the table. No one was saying that. People with diabetes, they were saying early on, like a lot of people are dying with it because they truly didn't understand. Today they still don't truly understand it. But during that time, that's something that would have seemed like simply logical. Like, okay, people are dying with diabetes. They're going into DKA, sickness. No one thought like more insulin is needed. Somehow we got to start a government program where insulin for them will be free, especially during this pandemic. Like nothing was given to us, but so much was taken away.
Yeah, I've been irritated about this for quite some time. Excuse me, especially like I can't really get into a lot, but I will say like, yes, Medicare's $35 copay is awesome. They need to extend that same grace to the people who are not on Medicare because insulin is expensive and people are dying because they're running out of insulin. I had a friend who had type 1 diabetes. He got it later, maybe 9-10 years old, ended up not taking insulin for a month because it was so expensive and he wasn't working and he couldn't afford it. He died. I'm like, this stuff is, if you treat people for HIV and other things like that with no copays, no, some of this stuff, I don't want to say it, you brought it on yourself. Sometimes you put yourself in a situation to contract this disease and here you are. I didn't do anything to myself. You didn't do anything to yourself, but we're spending the most money. Look at how much stuff is not covered. Those little CGM cover things, my insurance don't cover that. The adhesive wipes don't cover that either. The adhesive remover doesn't cover that either. That stuff starts adding up.
And even on top of that, if they want us to be our best, there should be a stipend, not only for supplies, but for food. They truly don't want us to be our best if there's not. Knowing that they want us to carb count.
Well, diabetes is like a moneymaker, right?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Pump is the equivalent of a car.
Mm-hmm.
Is your insurance pay the whole thing? Because I know mine doesn't.
Look, especially here in the U.S., because the people I've recorded with in Europe, like in the UK, they are so disgusted with how we have to pay so much towards insurance. Got to pay deductibles. Got to pay co-pays. They're like, are they giving you more money for something else? Are they like, are you getting it back? No.
I win.
No. They're like, I had someone from the UK, a young lady, who was like, I don't understand American insurance. She was like, y'all are paying so much money to something. She's like, are y'all getting anything back at the end of the year? Is it going to something else like housing? And I'm like, no. And she's like, why are y'all doing that then?
Because it's not our rules.
Like,
this is not my world. Free healthcare for everybody.
It's forced. It's forced on us.
We can go somewhere else. Are you gonna get the same care if you go elsewhere?
Right.
People come here to get treated. It's just like,
mm-hmm. Are they going to be up to date on the technology and the advancements in insulin and all of those things?
That's what I'm saying.
But it would be nice if at the end of the year, we got some kind of government stipend. Like some kind of reimbursement check.
Retroactive. Please.
Yeah. Look,
take that, because them syringes back in the day, they're not $3 anymore.
Not at all.
Got what, in pins? buying this stuff to just throw in the trash.
Mhm. There's so many things that go into living with a chronic health condition such as type 1 diabetes that the average everyday person do not see, do not feel, do not understand. And that goes for, again, the medical providers also, because they may write you a prescription for something before they even look at your insurance to see the coverage of it. And then when you contact them, letting them know, they're like, oh, well, I don't handle the insurance part.
Right.
Like, why isn't someone in your office or whatever handling that portion? Because it's so many other stressful burdens that are placed upon us. Why don't they want us? Why can't we just live and be great?
Well, not just that. Like, I was in the hospital when I had kidney stones, and like I had to have emergency surgery. Excuse me. And the nurse comes in and she's like, your blood sugar is 180. I'm like, I'm in excruciating pain. You better be happy it's not 400.
Right.
And she's like, you need insulin. I said, pause. I need insulin where? She was like, I'm getting ready to give you this injection because it needs to be under 120 before your procedure. I said, ma'am, you're not giving me any insulin. I said, you have to give my pump time to catch up. I'm like, you see this little arrow that's pointing down? That means it's on its way down. Now, how quickly it gets down, I can't tell you, but it's on the way down and you better get out of here with that insulin. And she's like, I'm going to call your doctor. Call the doctor. Even though I'm in pain, I will leave and go somewhere else. So I made a point when I was at the hospital. I said, I think it's odd that you guys are unfamiliar and I'm headed into surgery. I have to tell you how to work my pump. If it's beeping, you got to press this. You got to do this. If you see it dropping, what are you going to do? Just have it keep going off every 10 minutes until I wake up? Like, that could take hours. So I'm just not happy with the lack of knowledge in the hospitals, especially when you're in there for something unrelated to diabetes. It's crazy.
And they often try to pin everything on your diabetes. Everything. I said,
are you crazy? Oh, yeah. So how many times have you had DKA? Once. What do you mean once? I said just what I said, one time. Well, when was the last time you were in the hospital? I said 1984 and whatever, 2019. And she was like, what? For your diabetes? Lady, you asked me a question and I answered it. It's been 2 times. When I got it and when I got on the pump. No other time in between. She couldn't believe it.
And y'all better not put me in DKA being here.
I'm not. Find somebody else to play with.
Right.
I'm not new to this. So
I know I fought my way through DKA on my own in my younger 20s. Because I was this youthful, young, strong guy, and I treated it like it was food poisoning, which I shouldn't have had. I was so sick.
I bet.
But I have never ever technically been in DKA.
Okay.
Never. Maybe upon my diagnosis, my blood sugar was over 500 at the time, but it doesn't state that I was in DKA.
Okay.
They truly believe that I was pulling myself out of it.
Look, nothing surprises me. Sometimes pump is crazy. My sugar can be outrageous, 400. Right. Most people, I don't know what to do. I'm like, the only way I'm going to the hospital if it continues to go up. Let me give myself an hour. I'm not peeing. I'm not thirsty. Work it out at home. Because who wants to go to the hospital and deal with these people who don't know what they're doing? If it's not my doctor on call, I'm not trying to go.
Right. And I'm hopeful that we can create a one-pager for the medical team and also for people that are living with this so that when because the inevitable does happen, like going into the hospital.
Right.
When they're in a hospital, that they're able to communicate bulleted notes to the staff on taking care of them, because we see it far too often where people go into the hospital and they go into DKA. They're considered combative. Like those things happen so often where when we were home, we were fine. Why is it that now that I'm in the hospital with a staff that should be
having the knowledge,
more educated than me, because my education is off of lived experience.
Right. Experience is the best teacher.
It is. True indeed.
I think everybody should have somebody with them that has type 1 diabetes when they go into the hospital, at least somebody who's familiar. Because you're not always responsive. Like I was in excruciating pain. They ended up giving me some high level drug. Then I was knocked out. But I know you better not bring that insulin over here. Somebody that's a part of this that I got going on is going to tell you, oh, let me check her pump. Oh, no, it says 120. What you mean she need insulin? Bye. Nope.
Look, and you in the hospital, they want you a little higher because they fear they have.
Should. Have you had surgery before?
I have never had any surgery.
Okay, so my sugar dropped during the surgery.
Blood loss.
And don't nobody know what to do? Please, I don't need insulin at 180. I think I ended up, when it was going down and I knew I was going back, I put it in suspend. Like, I'm not going to constantly keep getting no medicine. I'm under the knife and unaware. Nobody I know is in here, and I'm supposed to put my faith in you idiots? No.
Right. Question. So, like, you've given some great advice here. As we do wrap up, is there anything else any other advice you would share with someone who's either newly diagnosed or someone who's been living with diabetes for a while, like you and I, and they just need a new perspective on living with diabetes?
Living with diabetes is not the end of the world. I'm 41. I will be 42 in March, and I would have been living with the disease with minimal complications for 41 years. You got this. Do not let it control you. Just don't. Like, you can do so much, and technology has come so far from when I was diagnosed. So if I can make it through that time where there was a pump that was this big to one that's the size of a pager, you can do it too.
Yes, you can, because Tiffany says so.
I said so.
Yeah,
come on.
Look,
we about to put that in the group.
Look, I'm up here thinking of like titles for your episode, so make sure you remind me that.
Okay, Tiffany said so.
Tiffany said so. Yeah, that's definitely going to be the title.
Okay.
So as we wrap up again, so you were diagnosed at 1 year young. You were a baby, no true memory of that, true recollection of that diagnosis. And you've lived, this is the only life you've ever lived.
That's it.
You've seen the advancements in technology, the advancements in insulin. Have you, Tiffany, ever imagined your life without diabetes?
I haven't, but I will say at one point, I always thought having type 1 diabetes, I wouldn't live this long. Like I went, knowing this is what I had and seeing how it has affected people, in my family, people I worked with, I'm like, okay, 40, if I make it to 40, I did awesome. But that's not even how I think now. Like, it doesn't have a hold on me, and it does not limit my life because I have type 1 diabetes. Just have diabetes. That's it.
You don't have everything else.
I mean, I got everything else too, but like the ailments and the complications, like, I don't have that. Why for yourself? Take care of yourself because Tiffany said so.
Because Tiffany says so. Because if you compare Tiffany's 41 years to someone else's 41 years who doesn't have diabetes, I'm pretty sure Tiffany is a lot more healthier than the majority of them. We are.
Mhm.
We are, because we've been able to keep that keen eye and check on our well-being.
Yep.
But I must wrap up with this question, Tiffany, because I
Okay,
wrap up with it with everyone.
Okay.
On the day a cure is here. There's no thought about it. On the day a cure is here, on that day, you're fully cured of diabetes. You phone me, the group, we're all cured of diabetes. On that day, what do you do?
I thank God. I'm not gonna go eat something crazy because if I want a Snickers, I'm gonna go eat it anyway. I would thank God and just be happy that somebody else did not have to endure, even though it hasn't been bad. It's hard. So I would be saying thank you, God, for it's over.
And God, that's the same thing I said the first time someone asked me that question. I said, I probably fall to my knees and just thank God, because there's so many different things, nuances that go into living with diabetes that others don't see or feel.
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel when we wake up with low blood sugars and the shakes and
Dizzy,
dizzy, the memory
don't know what the hell's
lapses.
going on. Yep.
Yeah, those memory lapses, all of those things. Those when you got to get your child somewhere and you're like, you check your blood sugar and you're like, I gotta hurry up and do something.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's hurry up and gotta get some glucose, some fast acting sugar,
Yep.
or gotta change a pump site, or like
Because it's bad. It's a lot.
right.
It's a
Or
lot.
when you're out with your people and something happens like that, something like your site rips or whatever, like go gadget. Look, we got to MacGyver that thing up. I'm taking you back to our era.
Man, what? Somebody
No.
give me some tape. Got a Band-Aid?
Yes.
I gotta take this thing down.
We've done it many times. And on that note, Tiff, we leaving with a smile.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
I want to thank you for joining me on the journey that is the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. Tiffany, you are someone that needs to be heard because Tiffany said so.
Because I said so.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yep. And let people know in the group they need to join.
Oh, I will.
Yep. All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Blessings.
You too. Bye-bye.